Hi, thanks for coming back to my channel. Today I'll be showing you on how to replace iPad mini. This is a full video tutorial. You're gonna see step by steps on how to replace an iPad mini screen. So let's get started. iPad mini screen replacement. I'll show you on how to do that. First of all, what you need to do is you need to have a Phillips screwdriver. I find this very useful. It's called iSesamo. This is like a pry tool where it helps you to pry open the broken glass easily. So you need one of this. If you don't have it, you don't have to get them. I believe when you buy the new screen, the screen digitizer, most of the time they might come with some sort of a pry tool for you, but I know for sure they have the Phillips screwdriver included and something like a guitar pick. It helps you to pry it open as well. What I want to get to you is when you get the screen replacement for this iPad mini, make sure the one that you want to get it comes with the IC chip connector. This is IC chip connector. Some people are selling them without the IC chip connector. Do not buy that one. You're gonna run into a big trouble. So get the one that has the IC chip connector. Also, I like to kind of point out ahead of time, they do come with the home button, okay? And this home button here is not the original. If you press on it, you feel like it is not giving you that, that good press. It feels like it's coming loose each time when I press on it. And if you press hard enough, actually the button can slide off. You see how the button gets slide off? Okay. The reason behind is that the frame that holds the home button is not being glued tight enough. So when you replace the original screen, you might want to use the original home button and stick it onto this one and get rid of this. They are not good home button to begin with, okay? Also, some of you who replaced the iPad for the first time, I want you to pay attention to this part right here. Okay? The part that has, it looks like braided cables. Make sure you have some sort of tape that covers the sensor. If you don't, what happens is when you replace the screen, and if somebody press hard enough on the body frame or the glass and the sensor touches the metal or some sort of thing underneath, it will start pressing on its own. Okay, I learned that from the hard way, so I just wanted to share this with you. Make sure you have some sort of like the tape, like this guy, he taped it above here. I would recommend to tape from one end to the other end. Make sure you cover the entire sensor that exposed. Okay, so let's come back to the equipment. What you need definitely is going to be a broken iPad, a pry tool, a Phillips screwdriver. Something like this would help to kind of hold the broken screen. Tweezer definitely helps. You need to have adhesive double tape. You can get this online. A lot of iPad screen, they pre-install adhesive. They really do not stick. Forget about this. You need to get something a lot stronger. Don't trust the pre-install adhesive. They don't stick well. Okay, and a heat gun. If you don't have a heat gun, you can get like a hair dryer, that would work. But the heat gun is an investment for us, so if you don't have it, use the hair dryer. Okay, let's get started. So first thing what I'll do is I'll heat up the heat gun. First thing you want to do is to make sure the iPad is off, okay? If you use a hair dryer, you might want to heat it up a bit longer, because the heat on a hair dryer is not as hot as a heat gun. And if you have a heat gun, you do not want to stay in one spot. The heat can really damage the LCD screen, so you want to keep moving around just to warm the glue up, and helps you to remove the glass a lot easier. Okay, usually when I begin, I start from the corner. I work my way around it. Okay, you do not want to stick the pry tool too deep. You just try to avoid damaging the LCD screen. Once you have a little gap, the way I'll do it, I find this a lot easier, is to keep hitting the screen, warm up the glue, and then just use your finger to kind of like push it open. So you use one hand to hold the iPad and use the rest of the finger to push it open, and then at the same time use the other hand to warm up the iPad. Okay, when it gets to this part, you see this white tape. It's not a tape, like a white like a piece of plastic. That is actually a Wi-Fi card. Make sure you don't tear the thing apart, and you want to separate the glass away from the iPad. The Wi-Fi antenna. Okay, when you get to this part, when you get to this part where you separate the glass and the iPad, you can go ahead and cut off the cable, because we're going to replace the screen, so we don't need to keep the cable intact. Okay, what you want to do at this point is you want to recycle or reuse the original home button. The original home button is a lot more better in terms of the one that comes with the screen. So this one here, you can just throw it away. You want to come back to the iPad, remove anything that is still, remove the glass that still stick onto the iPad. It looks like there's adhesive tape here, so I'm going to remove that as well. What you want to do is to make sure you have a clean base, and when you stick on the adhesive, it will stick a lot better and holds the glass. Just clean up whatever needs to be cleaned up at this point. Okay, and this is the last adhesive. Alright, so I get everything cleaned up. If you see, there's this magnet, you want to save them on the side because we're going to reuse that later in a bit. There are 4 screws, 2 on the top, 2 at the bottom. Make sure you don't mix the screw because the screw, they are in different sizes. So make sure you know which one goes where later on. Okay, if you can see, there is a tape that tape onto the LCD screen. There are 2 tapes actually. You want to kind of pry open or peel the tape off so that you can get into the LCD screen in just a second. So peel off the tape. Okay, show it to you. There are 2 tapes, so you kind of make sure they are not stick together, and therefore the LCD screen can come right off. Okay, at this point you're going to have a bunch of screws that holds the back plate. sure you just remove all the screws before you can get into the connector. The connector is at the bottom here, so I'm going to remove the screws. I'm not sure why Apple put so many screws on the back plate. I think this is ridiculous. If you find an iPad mini 2, they only have 4 screws, so I think they learned a lesson. But for iPad mini 1, I have no idea why they put so many screws on it. Don't mix the screws. You want to align them, make sure you know where you remove and put back onto the same spot, because the screws, they are not the same, so don't mix the screw up. Okay, once you have all the screws taken up, you can remove the back plate. There are 3 more screws that hold onto the connector, and again, don't mix the screw up. So this is the LCD connector. You can slowly pry it open and remove the LCD. And this is the IC chip connector for screen digitizer. Like I said, you don't need this anymore, so you can cut off the cable and make your work a lot easier at the beginning. Okay, before I install the new screen, I like to make sure that I cover up the sensor, as I explained earlier on my video, and also change out the home button here. Okay, I'm going to do that right now. I just wanted to point out the original home button versus the one that came with the new screen. If you see, the original home button, it has the sort of like a plastic, like a suction cup, so each time when you press, it would try to push itself back up at the, you know, and the original one does not have that little, I don't know what you call it, a plastic, the suction cup, whatever. But yeah, so get rid of the new one and replace with the original home button screen. I mean home button. Okay, once you have that thing done, you want to put a adhesive double tape and make sure the bracket is sticky enough to hold on to the home button. Okay, as you see, the thing is really sticky, so it would hold the home button very well. Okay, I want to do a few press on it and see how it feels. Yep, it feels good. Okay, so I'm going to come back to the sensor. Like I said, you need to tape the sensor at the back. Sorry, I wasn't sure where the camera cut off the recording. Let me quickly walk you through what I did earlier. Pretty much I just put a tape on a new screen to cover up the exposed sensor on the glass. Right now I'm done with that. I have the home button being replaced. This is the original home button. I get rid of the one that came with the new screen. It feels a lot better when you press on the original home button. Okay, so right now I'm going to install the digitizer. And what you want to do is align the IC chip connector properly and stick it in. They're just like a Lego, so when you press firm you can feel like it eats its own position, so you don't have to. That's when you know it is good. The next thing what you want to do is to put in the LCD screen. Okay, once that's done, the back plate for the connector. Okay, before I put the screws on the back plate, I usually like to turn it on and give it a few tests. Make sure the new screen digitizer works well. Oh, of course, there's no battery. Oh well, I trust my work, so I'm just gonna move forward and finish up the video for you. So usually for the back plate, I do not screw in tight for the first screw. I would align the top and the bottom, make sure that I have the right position, and I'll screw everything tightly after that. Okay, one last screw. Okay, you want to clean off some of the dust or maybe fingerprint. What you can do is you get one of regular tape. I'm just kind of like tape it like this to get rid of any fingerprint, any dust, rather than just wipe it with paper towels. This way is a lot easier and it's a lot cleaner. And you just stick onto the tape. Okay, when it's done, what you want to do is to put the screws back on, the 4 screws that hold the LCD. Okay, the 2 tapes that tape onto the LCD, just stick them back together. And make sure you don't forget the magnet that goes on top here. So right now you're kind of apply the adhesive, the new adhesive on the screen. Okay, this is the last adhesive I'm going to apply. That is very close to the home button. First thing I usually do is to peel off the adhesive on the iPad first before I get to the screen. So this way I can tell if there's any like dust, anything. You see there's a new dust here. Blow it off. Okay, now I'm going to work on the glass. Remove the adhesive plastic. Okay, once that's done, this is the final piece. Okay, now you can kind of glue the new screen on the iPad. So this is, you got to be very careful at this stage here. You want to line up the top part on both sides. Make sure that you have an angle that kind of that kind of go in this way on the very top. Make sure you have it very close to the base. Okay, you can press and hold it tight. Flip it around. I just wanted to point out that as you see, the ribbon cable is sticking out here. You want the cable to be bent inwards. Okay, right now it's bending outwards. You want to push it in far enough so that it bends inwards. Okay, and then you can slowly close the bottom part. Okay, that's pretty much it. That's how you replace an iPad screen. You can peel this off later on, but yeah, so I'm gonna charge the iPad, test it out, and that's how you do it. Thanks for watching.